Larry has raised the bar probably more than any plaintiff lawyer in the country in terms of verdicts. I believe he's the only plaintiff lawyer to ever have appeared on the cover of Verdict magazine, and the tagline was, "The lawyer we hate to love." The cases that Larry brings in are staggering in their depth and in their preparation. The cases that I have mediated for him have all been in 7 and 8 figures, and deservedly so. I mean, he gets the best of the best. Larry is fond of saying that anybody can get $10 million on a $5 million case. It's getting 15 that takes a little lawyering.
Kathleen Gresini is the finest. She's the heart and soul of that firm. And indeed, to have a night like this that we can say something so great about this spectacular lawyer is really important. And what?
You can see the top of the paper there.
What? It's not Kathleen, it's, oh yeah, Larry Gresini. I'm sure he's real good too, right?
We were trying a case once, and we came in the morning, and we were resuming the cross-examination of the defense expert. And Larry walked in with the LA Times from that morning and just started reading the LA Times to him, saying, "Didn't you see this article here this morning about all of this?" And the big objection from the defense, and the judge starts getting apoplectic and says, "Mr. Gresini, you can't just get up here in front of the jury and start reading the newspaper to him." And I think at that time I was hiding under the counsel table, but he thought that if it was in the newspaper that was provided the foundation to make it admissible, and then I would have to worry about it later on appeal.
One of the finest human beings I've ever had the opportunity to know and to love is Larry Gresini. Truly, he has a persuasiveness to him that few have matched, without a doubt. He's taken some massively difficult cases and won, and that's all he does really, is win these cases. At the end of the case, almost every single defense lawyer thinks the world of him, even in those cases where he got a verdict 20 times the offer. You know, and that's what he's all about. If ever there was a person that we should be honoring for not only his ability in a courtroom, but for his heart and for his soul, is Larry Gresini. There's no finer trial lawyer.
Larry's a spectacular trial lawyer. He's probably the best trial lawyer I've ever had the privilege of getting the opportunity to see. But beyond that, he's a spectacular human being. He did want to remind you all out there to pick up a bottle or a case of Gresini Family Vineyards Sauvignon Blanc down in San Ynez, or you can go on the website, GresiniFamilyVineyards.com, and talk to one of his 2 lovely daughters, and they'll set you up with Larry's wine.
Well, the Association of Southern California Defense Counsel could not have picked a better judge to honor tonight than Judge Margaret Morrow. One of the things I'd like to touch on tonight is her fidelity to the issues that she really cares about, her perseverance. One of the things that I'd like to mention is the Alternative Dispute Resolution Program that Judge Morrow began and founded and initiated, and that she's fostered its growth over the years. This program, in fact, was recently honored by the Ninth Circuit at its annual Circuit Conference for Excellence, and all due to her efforts. I think you all know what a friend she has been to the community, to the court, and to the public. And one of the things that she does that maybe people don't know about is her friendship, and again, her enduring relationship with the Irish American Bar Association and the Summer Extern program that brings students to our court every year from Ireland. And Margaret has continued to be intimately involved with this over the years, and even hosts the Irish Externs every summer at her home.
We are honoring Judge Morrow because she deserves it. She's an incredibly diligent, caring judicial officer. She has dedicated her career to public service. Even as a young lawyer in private practice, she devoted huge amounts of time to providing legal services to the poor and developing programs such as the County Bar's Domestic Violence Project, which I think is now celebrating its 27th year. Margaret not only had the idea for the Domestic Violence Project, but she made it happen, along with so many other projects that continue to provide vital services to thousands of people in need, people who have benefited from her leadership, yet will never know her name. Margaret is someone of the highest integrity, who holds herself to the highest standards, whether as an attorney, a leader of the county bar, president of the state bar, or a judge. She is driven to do good. She's courageous. She can move mountains. She does move mountains. And she has a great smile.
Sir Isaac Newton once said that tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy. And that was Jim. He could make his points stronger than anybody in the world. He would stick by them. He knew just what he believed in, and he was courageous in expressing it. But he never got people angry at him in the process. He was a lawyer's lawyer. He was a gentle person's gentle person. Jim Roby was as tough as they came, and yet everybody liked him. He was elected president of this organization. He's being honored here tonight. That's what people thought of him.
When you talked to Jim, it was like there was no one else in the world. He focused on you, he cared about you, he thought about what you were saying, and he was responding to you. That's what I like most about Jim. He cared about people, and he let them know it.
You know, a fellow named David Howe back at the turn of the 20th century made a comment that I think is quite appropriate with regard to talking about Jim Roby. He said, "What people say behind your back is your standing in the community." There's one thing about Jim Roby: everybody behind his back said good things about him. It's one thing when people say good things to your face. It's another thing when they're saying it when you can't even hear it.
Jim was a consummate lawyer. He was always well prepared, very respectful, knew the law, was a strong advocate, wasn't afraid to state his position, but was always, in his dealings with me, was always respectful, and I appreciated the way he conducted himself.
I had the opportunity over the years to work with him on a number of cases. One of those cases involved my representation of an insurance company who was sued for bad faith by a senior United States District Court judge who was represented by Bill Chernoff. When I realized in the case that I needed a bad faith expert, I immediately called Jim Roby. When time came for his expert deposition to be given, I was thrilled to have a front row seat for what can best be billed as a clash of the titans. I think it's fair to say that that was the easiest and most entertaining day that I've experienced as a lawyer in my career.
I've tried cases against Jim, and actually, I'll tell you, when you were in trial with Jim, you knew you had a fight on your hand. I've had a very good experience with Jim because even though he was a tough litigator, he never gave you an inch on anything. You never got the sense that he was going to do anything underhanded or cheap or something that was just a cheap shot. That wasn't Jim. Jim fought you fair. He was tough. He was relentless, but he absolutely was honest to the nth degree. That's why I respected him so much.
The legal community has lost a great advocate, a great lawyer, and a great friend. I think just as important or more so, they've lost a leader. And by that, I don't just mean somebody that gets up and spouts out ideas and attempts to be a leader. I mean the kind of leadership that grows out of example. He set a very good example for all lawyers on both sides of the bar, and everybody knew it. That's why they turned to him all the time.
I really wish that this could have come during Jim's lifetime, because those of us in the room that ever had anything to do with Jim knew that he deserved it. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So the best I can say to Edith is that, at least Edith, you know what we felt for Jim, what we feel for you, and how much of an honor it is for me, and I'm sure the others feel the same way, to have been asked to say a few words in Jim's honor. And this honor is something that he deserved for a long time, and I'm glad it finally gets the public attention it deserves.
You know, it's such an appropriate gathering of honorees tonight. I mean, Jim Roby, complete gentleman, quality lawyer. Larry Gresini, we all love Larry. And Margaret Morrow, you can't ask for a finer person to be on the bench in the United States of America. And how appropriate that they're all gathering together at one time tonight to be honored all at once.